Hello, this is Brian Hegney, instructor of game and interactive media design. You just watched a video of me starting to unwrap this guy, and what you're going to watch next is just a sped up version of me continuing the unwrap. Again, you know most of this. This is just to kind of, if you need to see me unwrapping something else, hey, here's that video. Feel free to speed up the process if you want by clicking the play faster buttons. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Alright, so I have a decent start here, but what I really did was I wanted to move everything out of my little square in my Edit UVW editor, and just playing around with scaling to kind of see where things are hidden. This is a weird shape for that collar because it bends around in space, and so I'm trying to stretch it using the tarp stretcher kind of that we looked over before. I'm not quite sure at this point because I haven't really unwrapped or don't remember unwrapping a collar like that. So I ended up not using the tarp stretcher, or I started to use the tarp stretcher and then I used the 3D Studio Max tool to flatten it. It's in the UVW template, or the Edit UVW's window on the right. For the head, again, I'm going to use the tarp stretcher eventually. You'll see that. I'm going to... I'm kind of playing around with how I start. So I'm going to make my seams. Again, these are the seams, not the mapping seams, but these are the ones for using the tarp, right? And I'm just trying to figure out maybe where I can click those seams, or I'm getting rid of, yeah, there we go. I'm just trying to choose the right ones. So I went around the arms and then down the back of the head. You want your seams in the back, or where you're not really going to notice them. And again, this is the ever-present problem of where do I put my seams? How many do I have? The fewer seams I have for a head, the better for visibility, in the sense that you won't see your seam, but it's harder to unwrap it in a nice way. There's going to be distortion. So the fewer seams you have, the more likely you'll have distorted stuff. But I'm trying. And I'm scaling my tarp out to kind of pull it out a little bit more, and now I'm relaxing it. I'm using the relax tool a little bit. Do you see how many times I'm doing this? Try to get this kind of proper, and then that's right, I decided to break apart that thing because that was ruining my tarp unwrapping. So I removed it, and now I'm actually going to weld the verts back in. That little inside piece, I'm kind of welding it back in. So I used the stretcher to unwrap it without that little piece, and then I kind of went back and re-welded it back in. And I think I'm choosing to have that little piece a little distorted because you can't see it very well. So I'm like, hey, screw that. Don't need to worry about that piece. Alright, cool. Now I'm going to do the arms. I'm probably going to do, it looks like I'm doing these as cylinders first. No. And now I'm going to use the seam tool for peeling it. Yep. And then once I get all of those seams out, or the peel seams created, I did stretch that. Now what I'm gonna notice, actually, it looks pretty good, doesn't it? No, there is a problem, and I'll show it. I'll probably talk about it later. That part of the arm right there that's sticking out, well, that's gonna be a toughie I didn't consider that when I was making it, so I was kind of realizing this as I'm going. Oh, to stretch that out, really that's going to be a pain, because topologically, if you were to, make a blanket or, a costume with that type of piece, it's not going to pull out flat. It's going to be loose and flappy. So what I did, I just broke it off from the original piece, and I'm using all sorts of flattening tools to kind of just flatten it. I just want it unwrapped, man. And I'll deal with it later. Now I'm re-stretching the part of the arm that doesn't have that weird the weird thingamajiggy. Or I'm doing the other arm. Yep, and I'm going to get rid of that piece of the arm as well. Again, I'm drawing my seams, re-stretching it. Re-stretching it, breaking pieces off, relaxing it, breaking pieces off. All trying to get a really good unwrapping. Wee-haw! I can tell that's not going to be good. That's distorted. Look at those UVs. Make sure remember, you got to make sure your UV pattern are squares all along that. So I can tell what I'm doing right now. I'm probably extremely frustrated as I'm doing this. You will be too, likely. But yeah, and now I'm like, okay, maybe I can just do a cylindrical unwrap. And now I'm unwrapping it one piece at a time. I think I realized I kind of gave up on the seam, the peeling, the tarp stretching for the peeling, and instead I'm selecting each row of polygons on that arm and cylindrically unwrapping it, and then I'm going to go and select each parallel edge and hit the make horizontal tool. You can see what I'm doing up there towards the top. And of course there are little bits of mistakes here and there, like that the software just doesn't get. This is really good practice for really understanding how your verts in your in your Edit UVW window that's on my left match up with the real verts, the physical verts, in the model on the right. I think it's fun, actually. I always love it. I do, and I'm not joking. I actually love it. I love that a vertex in the model itself on the right can represent like many verts on the left inside the UVW unwrapping editor. Definitely not how I want to spend my days, but, if you have to unwrap something, it's not that bad. And at least we don't have to kill a deer, right? And I'm referring to just the fun of, like, having this 3D form be like a puzzle. Like, how do you unwrap it the best way possible? Oh, this is so fun. Likely you're not having fun. It's kind of, if you take this as your Zen meditation of the day, just spend, this took me an hour and 15 minutes to kind of go over, probably an hour and a half total. And so likely for you, it's going to take a long time. 8 hours, maybe. I mean, I would guess 4 hours. At this point, it should take you 4. In the beginning, it would have taken you like 8 times as long to do what I do. I'm assuming now that you've unwrapped your barrel and you've unwrapped your 3D prop, this will be your third object you're unwrapping, you're going to be a lot faster at it. So this should take you 4 hours to unwrap yours. Especially after watching this and seeing kind of the mistakes that I made going through here. Made a lot of mistakes. Or rather, I did a lot of investigating as to what did not work well. Again, this is the other arm. Now, if I had been smart, I would have copied the arm after I did... See, if I had copied the physical arm, the 3D model of the arm, after I unwrapped it, I wouldn't have had to go through this horrible process twice. But I did, and so that's my fault. I could have just done this once. I have like two, they're exactly the same. See that little hole I'm leaving there in the arm? That's for that little horn thing that was created. What I find when I did this now, after I finished unwrapping the arms using the cylindrical unwrap, I'm gonna realize my seam is not on the very bottom. Like your seam for arms should be on the inside of your arms, because, and that's what I'm doing right now, I'm gonna break that and I'm gonna move it aside so that my seam is in. You see that seam, the green line? Yeah. Because that's gonna be the last, like the least likely place someone is going to see your textures underneath the arm. Think about you standing with your arms at your side. No one, you won't look at what's between your arm and your body. So that's what I'm doing here. One thing I think you should know or realize now, as we do this, is really the size, the shape of your polygons in your unwrap editor should really mimic the shape of your polygons on your 3D model. If they do, they're going to be pretty non-distorted. If they don't, they're going to be distorted. I think I used a cylinder on the legs too. And notice what I'm doing, I'm making sure that the pattern reads correctly. That's why there's letters and numbers, so I can see which letters and numbers are backwards or upside down. Just want to make sure everything's right side up. There was an issue with welding my verts in the unwrapping window. I don't remember where it is in this, but just let me tell you, oh my goodness, there was an issue with target weld. And when that happens, I can't remember what I did or where I did it, but sometimes you just have to save, shut down, open it back up again. I'm making everything straight. And really making it proportional to making sure the polygons on the left inside the editor are the same as they are in the model. I'm probably gonna, I'm gonna break that so that my seam is really on the inside. I hope that's what I'm doing. Yeah, seam on the inside. Always put your seams in a place where no one's gonna see them, if you can. And now I'm gonna look at it. Straightening up my things there. Almost done. Packing them in. Pretty. Pretty boy. Oh, sorry. That was my parrot impersonation.